So I'm back ranking animes, and we got good animes, we got bad animes, we have VTuber animes, and what the fuck is that Rick and Morty?
Mundo, you can't do this again. You just did this last week.
Rule number one about being a gangster: gangsters do whatever they want. So if you don't know how this works, I watched the first episode of all of these animes and then I put them on a tier list. And this isn't a final tier list or anything. This is just only the first episode. So please don't get angry. So this first anime has a really cool story. So get this, a wizard that can't use any magic is actually secretly super strong, and everyone around him hates him because he can't use any magic. But seriously, this was a good first episode. There was lots of drama and pretty animation, which I love. And the drama was pretty good. It wasn't like teenage girl drama.
Oh my god, did you hear what Rebecca said about me? She called me fat.
But like everybody hating on him. And then they pull a classic anime move where he has a female best friend when he's a child, and then they make a pinky promise. So now he has to go be a grand mega Giga Chad wizard with that little girl he made a promise to. Also, what I've been seeing a lot is that the childhood best friend is always younger than them, and they're always way better than them at everything. But the fights in this show are so good. The animation is super fluid and it's super pretty. It really feels like the animators took their time with this and really cared about the final product. And I really enjoyed this anime, but I feel like it's missing something for me to put it in S tier. But maybe as the show goes on, it'll get better. But for now, I'm gonna put it in A. It was pretty good, but it's just missing that little something to push it into S. The next anime is this anime I haven't heard anybody talk about at all. It's called VTuber. This title is too long for me to pronounce. Picture you took a guy like me or you know, the average degenerate, and you put him into a hot girl's body who is also a VTuber, but her VTuber avatar is literally her. It's the exact same thing. And this is one of the most vulgar shows I have ever watched in general. I mean, she curses, she makes sex jokes, she drinks a lot, and she also talks shit on all her coworkers. So she's basically Iron Mouse. So, you know, she's streaming and then the stream ends, right? But it doesn't really end. She leaves it on, and then she goes and does a bunch of horrible shit, which is honestly pretty funny.
Give it to me, cutie. Oh, the sausage tongue is making me feel so fertile. I'll be your mommy if you crawl back up my...
I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. When I saw VTuber in the title, I thought this was gonna be ass, but I was entertained through the whole thing. I really didn't expect it to be like this. You know, if you like VTubers, that's your thing. I only like one VTuber, and that's Iron Mouse. And even then, I'm really not the biggest fan. So, you know, I'm really not the target demographic for this kind of show. And for me to genuinely enjoy this show, that's how you know it's good. So I'm gonna put this in the B tier. It wasn't the best, but it also wasn't the worst. I do recommend you go check it out though, because it did surprise me in a good way.
Hello, ladies. Welcome in. I've looked up you guys for like ever. Let's get married so we can have sex already.
I've only ever liked 2 romance animes, and that was Love is War and Toradora. And I also haven't watched Toradora since I was like 13, by the way. So if it's ass, I really don't care. Okay, nostalgia. But today I found a 3rd romance anime that I actually like. Too many losing heroines, and not like the drug, like women. I think in the very first scene, the main character walks into like a cafe or like a bar or something, and he sits down and he's just witnessing this intense love story.
Her mind is already made up.
She said goodbye early to see if you were going to fight for her.
How could you know that?
Yes, I would.
Then this woman comes over to his table and then randomly starts just trauma dumping all of her feelings on him. And my first impression was, oh my god, this girl is delusional.
Are we dating? Technically, no.
You're not? Then that's not cheating at all. I need you to tell me you understand that.
I mean, it was basically like we were half dating, though.
Who doesn't like a delusional girl? It seems to be a recurring theme in the first episode that the main character has to witness all of these girls take L's. I have never once in real life have seen a guy reject a girl for another girl. And this guy sees that on a daily basis. And I'm not even gonna lie, it makes the show so entertaining. Again, I expected this to be ass, but it was actually really good. And his little sister is a freak. And I don't mean a freak like that, okay? She's like 8 years old or something, so, you know. I would say my only complaint about the show so far is that the main character is kind of basic. I really don't like self-insert characters. You know, like the black hair, bland, no personality. They're also kind of like developing him too a little bit. So he's kind of a self-insert character, but he also has a little bit of personality to him too. I would have to give this show A tier. Maybe when I finish it, I'm gonna put it in S. I don't know. So are we some type of Suicide Squad or something?
So that's it? What, we some kind of Suicide Squad?
Suicide Squad had a pretty solid first episode. The show has a pretty cool premise. You just take a bunch of DC villains and you put them in the isekai world. In the first episode was alright. I liked it and had some cool fights in there, some not so cool fights in there too. One of the not so cool fights was when the girl with the mask, I forgot her name, or I don't even think they said her name, fought Harley Quinn trying to take her back. And then the fight was so slow. And in the middle of it, she just started kicking boxes at her. I also don't like the fact that Harley Quinn was telling everybody every 5 fucking minutes that they're not her type. The only type she has is the Joker. That's the only guy she like. And you know, it has a normal Suicide Squad premise. You know, bad people do bad things. And they obey that, I forgot her name, but they obey this lady, or else the bomb that she had planted in their necks will blow up. So she takes that and puts them on a suicide mission, which is pretty cool. And they put them in a magical world, a magical isekai world, which I mean is kind of dumb, because why would you want them to save this world? But I honestly really couldn't care less. As long as it gives me good action and like a cool show, I could really care less. And they did. Right at the very end of the first episode, there was a really cool fight and I really enjoyed. They also have Peacemaker in there, which is pretty cool because I never see Peacemaker in anything. And I like right before the last fight happens, their plane crashes and everyone dies except for the main, you know, characters, the Suicide Squad. Like, they just get out of the plane crash like nothing happened, like the plane didn't just crash. Like, I guess for Clayface that kind of makes sense, but there's no way Harley Quinn is just unscathed after she just fell 100 feet out of the sky. I've heard the rest of the show is pretty bad. I haven't watched it, but the first episode was pretty good. I honestly don't know how you mess putting a bunch of cool villains in a magical world where you can pretty much do whatever you want with it, but I don't know. The first episode was pretty good. I would put it in B tier. It wasn't like super great or anything, but I did really enjoy it. Who asked for a Rick and Morty anime? I've been a big fan of Rick and Morty for a very, very long time. I think I was in middle school at my grandma's house the first time I watched Rick and Morty. I think around season 5 is when I started to like not enjoy it as much, but I do think that Rick and Morty is still a pretty good show and it's still one of my favorite shows of all time. Now, with that being said, I am not biased at all. The Rick and Morty anime made no sense to me. It kind of did a little bit, but it kept like doing the same things but with like very subtle differences. This is all from Morty's perspective, so they'll have like different people in there, or like he'll be in a different place or something like that. I sound confused because I was very confused watching it, and I'm not sure if it was like different timelines or like different dimensions. I have no clue what it was supposed to be, which I mean, I guess it's a cool concept. Now I kind of enjoy stuff when it doesn't make sense and it like kind of makes me think, but I feel like they didn't give me enough for me to think about.
Come on, flip the pickle, Morty. You're not gonna regret it. The payoff is huge. I turned myself into a pickle, Morty! Boom! Big reveal. I'm a pickle. What do you think about that? I turned myself into a pickle!
They also changed the voice actors for the dub, which I have no idea why you wouldn't just keep the original voice actors. I know that they don't have Rick's voice actor, I forgot his name, but they don't have him on there anymore. But I don't understand why you couldn't get the rest of the cast. I didn't hate it, and I also didn't think it was bad. I think it's setting up for things later on in the seasons, so I really can't get mad at that. For a first episode, I would probably put this in like C tier. Like, it wasn't bad, but I also don't think it was good, you know? What is wrong with their teeth? Like, I know people don't like the art style. Why do they look like that? I Parry Everything is an anime about a guy who can parry everything. So I thought this was gonna be an isekai, but it wasn't even an isekai, so that's already bonus points. Okay, when he was a kid, his dad died, right? And then his mom got sick and then was like, live a life that you want to live. And then he's like, oh my god, Mom, I want to be an adventurer. And then she dies. So at a young age, he ventures out and then he tries to, you know, go to school for adventuring, and he sucks at everything except for parrying and other like little skills. So they don't let him do anything. They tell him to go back home because he sucks, and then bro wasted like 2 or 3 years of his life. So since they won't let him go and be an adventurer, he goes back home and he's like, I have to train as hard as I can. You know, the never give up stuff that anime always shoves down your throat. So then he parries every day. Every day he parries until he can parry like 1,000 swords or something. And you know, he's a super hard worker, all this and that. It was all, the beginning was pretty boring, but the end was pretty good. So he comes back after a couple years to the same guild, and then somebody lets him have like basically like a learner's permit for being an adventurer, so he can just take up like a bunch of like little small jobs. So he's at a job site like working construction or doing something. That's not important. What's important is that 100 feet away there is a cave with a big ass bull demon in there apparently, and like some girl who was restrained, and then like a bunch of people fighting the demon. It is literally like 100 feet away from like a construction site. Like, can you imagine being at a construction site trying to do your job, and then like you look down the street and there's a big ass cave with demons in it? So he hears the girl screaming, and then, you know, he's a hero, so he runs and busts a full sprint into the cave. He's watching these men fight the demons, and then he watches the first guy die, and then he watches the rest of them die, and there's one guy left, and he's like, oh, this guy's gonna definitely die. He can't handle the demon. And he just watches him die. Like, he could have saved this guy, but he just chose not to. When the woman's in danger, oh man, he jumps to the rescue. So they have this big, cool, epic fight, and I'm not even gonna lie, the fight was pretty good. I was pleasantly surprised. He can't really do anything, so he just parried the demon. He parried the demon so hard, his head got chopped off by his own sword, which I'm not even gonna lie, that was pretty cool. I'll put this anime in the B tier, but I definitely think the VTuber anime is the best out of those three. If you made it this far, thank you. It actually means a whole lot to me. Please leave a like. I need it. Please subscribe. I need it. I need to be boosted so I can quit my job at Subway and I can sell my soul to get as much money as possible. Thank you. Also, if you have any ideas or anything you want to see from me, please put it in the comments. If you have any constructive criticism for me, I actually need it. I don't know. I feel like there's something missing from my videos.